What's up, Sky Squad? We are back in the building. As you guys can see, we got some things to go over today. Listen, if you are in this good chatterization right now, let me know where you're watching from. We're going to be talking about Real Housewives of Potomac today. We got some new footage that has surfaced, and it really goes back to Michael Darby grabbing on the behinds of the producers and crew members on this show, allegedly. Okay, we're going to get into all of that. If you are in the chatterization, as always, let us know where you guys are watching from. If you got the text message, let me know that as well. I like to make sure that the text message goes out as soon as the new video is dropping. Yes, the backsides. So we're going to go ahead and stage dive right in. I'm going to talk to you guys about what happened. I'm going to talk to you guys about also why it's important. And then we got a little bit more Real Housewives of Potomac tea to get into. So don't go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Don't go nowhere. I see y'all with the tech squad coming through. See y'all with the tech squad coming through. So I'm going to go ahead and stage dive into the footage. And don't worry, for those of you guys who are coming in later, you guys will be able to see this as well. I'm not going to put the actual video here, but I am going to show you clips that illustrate what exactly has happened and what has surfaced. Okay, so let's go ahead and stage dive into it. Now, from my understanding, this is from season 1, episode 9. Okay, now I want you guys to take a close look at the screenerization right here, because on your right, you should see a photo. This is a still shot of the video because this footage does belong to that good Bravo TV. So I don't want to play it here, but I did happen to capture the screenshots. Okay. Now the screenshot here, you guys will see Exhibit A. We have Karen Huger off to the right. We have Mr. Ray Huger off to the left. And right in betwixt the two, we have said Real Housewife of Potomac crew member, okay? Now, what I do want to say is, in this same season, we may recall that there was an incident where the ladies had pointed out that Michael Darby had grabbed onto the behind of Andrew, who was dating Katie Ross at the time. Okay. Now that actually was shown on the screen, but this is something that most people did not seem to capture until just now. Okay. And this was brought up on Reddit by a user named Background Alien. I want to give credit to this Reddit account, and this is currently making the rounds now. So I want you guys to notice that here is where the behind grabbing occurs, okay? So we have 3 arrows here, one at the very top on the right pointing to the crew member involved. You have the arrow in the middle pointing to what appears to be Michael Darby's hand on the backside of said crew member. And the arrow to the far left is pointing to that good Michael Darby himself. Okay. Now, I cannot recall if this footage was actually in the episode, if it was something that was in addition to. But here is what we do have of that incident that no one seemed to have picked up on years ago when the season came out. And then see right here, we also have the cameraman reacting to this footage, as in it's looking like he's saying, "Get up off of me, bro. Back up, bro. What is you doing behind me, bro? Why is a hand on my behind, bro?" That's what this appears to be. You know what I'm saying? Because the cameraman has now switched positions, moved, and looking like, yo, what's going on here? What's going on here? Okay. So I wanted to bring this to you guys' attention because, again, it's making the rounds today. Now, I want to talk real quick about, why this is important and why it's popping up now. And I'm going to point you guys to Bravo, ducking Bravo, okay, which is a take on obviously what Denise had to say during the season when she wanted the cameras to stop rolling. But this account is awesome in terms of putting out memes and great Housewives related content. So please follow them online. So they say this is huge. They hope that the Bravo cameraman, Orville Palmer, who brought charges against Michael Darby in 2018 after being groped while filming at Monique's house, sees this and can reinstate his case using this as evidence that Michael has a history of this behavior. The women all stated that they'd seen him grab several behinds, many of the filming crew along with their dates, but no one had it on film until now, okay? Credit to Reddit sleuths for uncovering this from season 1 in 2016, another incident that was right in front of our eyes the whole time, okay? Now, as you guys will recall, the charges against Michael Darby were dropped, okay, at the time, last year, 2019. And their lawyer said the charges were dropped, they were baseless. There were a number of alleged witnesses who said it did not happen. The peace order request by the alleged victim was also denied. There was simply nothing that happened and nothing here. The case was dismissed to insufficient evidence, okay? Now, I want to also just give you guys some more context for what actually is happening here with this footage, okay? Now, the ladies did happen to speak about this at the reunion this past season, okay? They talked about it, here's the other thing. In that complaint that Orville Palmer had made, he claimed that Michael had grabbed and groped his backside during the filming, okay? Now, apparently, it was also, if you guys remember, it was also alleged by one of the husbands that he had also grabbed a host to that good Andy Cohen's behind at some point in time as well. But at the time, okay, Andy didn't recall it at that point in time, okay? Now, to me, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the real deal on this situation, okay? Let's discuss the real deal, Holyfield. When we're on set during a, filming event, or if you're on a reality television show, similar to as though you were in the workplace, the camera crew and the production team, I want to tell you guys that they work extremely hard. Sometimes they're on set for hours and hours and hours at a time. And especially the crew who are not producers, who are there to make sure the scene works, that there's lighting, that there's sound, all that good stuff. I'm going to tell you, I've seen firsthand, it is a lot of hard work, okay? It's a lot of hard work. And the people that are doing that job they're there because they love that job. They're just there to do their job, but it's hard, right? And so in this situation, similarly, if Michael had grabbed a woman, all right, this would not have been okay. This would have been a much huger deal than him grabbing the dude, okay? Because a lot of times we look at the dude like, oh, just brush it off, and oh, that's what they do in the locker room. But this ain't the locker room. This is the workplace, okay? This is essentially the workplace. And whether or not that's something that he's used to doing, it's not okay. It's not okay to do that. I can't imagine being on stripped, and even though I did have to remove all of my clothes, I can't imagine at some point in time at any point when I'm comfortable with the production team or not, you do become like, they do become like family. They see you all the time. I can't imagine ever thinking to myself that it would be okay to graze my hand on somebody else's behind that is not my significant other. I just can't see it. I can't see it as being cool. And the other thing is, not to mention the overt creepiness of it, it's also a violation of your personal space. It's just not cool on so many levels. And the fact of the matter is, this case was dismissed way back then because there was no evidence to support it, except for the reports that the ladies and the men on the husbands had seen and accounted for themselves. There was no video evidence of it at the time. Now, I'm not trying to say, okay, I'm not trying to say arrest him, lock him up, throw away the key, or nothing like that. That's up to whoever's out. That's not my thing to deal with. But I do think that this behavior needs to be addressed and it needs to be stopped, okay? Because it's not cool. It's really not cool. And for the person that feels like they've been violated, it's it's disrespectful to them. They come to work not to be jostled and prodded and talked and put their hands on. Like, that's not cool, and you can't do that. And it's so, now looking at the evidence that we've had since season 1, it's kind of like, bro, that's disgusting. That's disgusting. It's just disgusting to put your hands on any person who does not is not your significant other. That's what I'm saying. Especially in the workplace, male or female, whatever you're doing is wrong. It's wrong. Because then it borders on, it's creepy. It's Creepsville to be rubbing up on somebody's backside. That's just what I'm saying. And my hope is that it doesn't happen again, Belinda. And it has to be addressed. It has to be addressed. Kendall says it's wrong, but it sure makes good TV. Listen, I don't know about it. I just kind of feel like no, ma'am, Pam, no, ma'am. I don't know. Let me ask you guys a question in the chatterization. What do you guys feel like should be done in this situation? Because I don't know what needs to be done, but it definitely, I feel like it needs to be addressed. Unfortunately, I feel like it probably won't be at this point because the case was dismissed. And honestly, now looking back at it, that the Orville Palmer guy, the one who initially brought up the charges, he's probably somewhere now like, yo, like nobody, like this wasn't taken seriously then. But it's documented. I don't know. Not cool. Not cool at all. I want to move into a couple of other things. Robyn and Gizelle versus Karen. Okay. Let's get all the way up into it. Still discussing the altercation that will never end. Robyn and Gizelle blame Karen for this. They say she could have stopped it. Karen places the blame squarely on Robyn and Gizelle. Okay. This is a situation where I feel like everybody plays a part to a certain degree, whether it is overt or covert. But let's hear what the ladies have to say about each other. On the after show for the Real Housewives of Potomac, we have Karen, who is convinced that this situation is something that Gizelle Bryant has been waiting for. And Karen believes that Gizelle has been jealous of Monique since Monique first came on the show. And that they have been stirring the pot for a long time. Karen said, for me, what was clear was that some of the girls, i.e. Robyn and Gizelle, wanted Monique and Candiace to have a conversation. And so they encouraged it. And I clearly said they're not ready. So on the episode, we never saw that happen, okay? And so maybe it was cut, I don't know. But Karen is clearly saying that she said the two ladies are not ready to have a conversation. She also added, I said, no, please don't force them to have a conversation. And then Karen goes on to say things popped off after it began, right? She said that, in my opinion, Gizelle would strike a match, let it burn, and walk away. You know, that's what she did. Unfortunately, this fight for Gizelle is a cherry on the cake. She was waiting for this and sitting on ready. And unfortunately, she got it. Now, conversely, Robyn says that after the altercation, Karen walked up to her and Gizelle blaming them for what happened. And so Robyn said, how dare you? You're the one that could have prevented this a long time ago. I told Karen to get the HE double hockey sticks out of my face, get out of here with that ish. Do not, this is not acceptable. And that she is the one that could have prevented it because she is closer to them. She could have had a moment with them and just really said, I'm not accepting this anymore. So I was already like a little disappointed with her because of that. How can she pinpoint something like this on us? We had zero to do with that. What say you guys in the chatterization? Interesting perspectives from a lot of people. JC Ham says Gizelle attempted to get Karen and Wendy to get into it, but it didn't work. We all saw that happen as well. Somebody said something that was very interesting. Sin Joe says season 3 is very telling of the current season. Very. I'll have to go back and watch season 3. I love watching past seasons just to kind of see what you guys are talking about. I want to kind of move on over into Gizelle and Robyn on the Claudia Jordan Out Loud with Claudia Jordan show on YouTube last night. So the two of them are on the show, and they are basically defending their stance. And the question on the table is whether or not they believe that Monique should be fired. Okay, that's the question that's on the table. So Lynn S., this is for you. In the chatterization, please let me know whether or not you feel like anybody needs to be fired on the show, from the show. In the chatterization, please. That goes for you too, Lynn. They refuse to answer that question, but it's pretty obvious, I think, from Gizelle's perspective. You know, Gizelle is pretty much like, I want everyone to act their age and act grown and appropriate. And people act like we have the capability to hire and fire. So here's the thing. I don't think that Gizelle or Robyn have the power to hire and fire, but I do believe that they have the ability to make things so uncomfortable and so and alienate cast members to the point where if they refuse to film with a cast member, then that limits the amount of time that the person has on the show, and that limits them. And they know that if they limit that person's face time on the show, then the producers will ultimately let them go. Because here's the thing. One of the reasons why Brandi Glanville had not been able to come back to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills was because she had no friends on that show. And once a person ends up on an island, and Andy Cohen has said this, once a person ends up on an island by themselves, it's hard to keep that person on the show because they don't have any ties with the cast. If you guys watch and we're avid watchers of this show, you will notice that Robyn and Gizelle stick together. Why do you think that is? Now, they may be good friends. I don't know in real life, but what I would imagine is this. Gizelle is one of the stars of the show, based on what we can see from how the network continues to put her out there, put her out front, put her on all these different specials and all kinds of other things. They consider her, I believe, one of the if not the main star of the show, one of the headliners of the show. Robyn, since she has that sort of, Robyn acts as sort of Gizelle's mouthpiece, and Robyn is the one that may get in your face, may pop off, put a finger up in your face, roll up on you, okay? She's kind of like the Evelyn Lozada, and Gizelle is kind of like the Shawnee O'Neal. Now, and if you guys follow my logic, okay? Now, granted, Evelyn may have a little bit more spice and flair than Robyn, but in the sense of how they function on the show, they function very similarly. And so if these two people are always tied together, that means if they have an alliance always, then that means that they always have people to film with. And because much of the other ladies want to be associated with that inner circle, they're going to be willing to alienate whoever they need to alienate in order to get them off the show, because everybody else is trying to save themselves. So if you notice, you'll see Wendy and Candiace getting close together, because as they should, okay? I'm talking about reality television 101, which you should be doing. They should be getting together as a collective so that they can have each other's back, okay? But then you look at Ashley, who is maneuvering in this circle and keeping close ties with just about all of the ladies. And then the next person, the two people that are on the island by themselves will be Karen and Monique, right? But what happened was they expected, and I think that everybody expected Karen to take the collective's side in this situation. And when she didn't, it's kind of like, oh, we're gonna ice her out of the situation too. So I guarantee you, if for whatever reason Monique and Karen don't stick together, then it'll be easier for the collective to ice either one of the two of them out. That's just kind of my perspective on the situation based on what we have seen before on other shows and what we have seen with Real Housewives of Atlanta and what they tried to do with Porsha, how they tried to isolate her. We've just seen it on we've seen it on Basketball Wives as well. The ladies did that with OG. They've done it with Jennifer. Really, you got to always look at how the pieces are coming together. Look at how the pieces are coming together. Okay? Now, Claudia did manage to hold Robyn to the fire a little bit, because she asked Robyn about getting up in Ashley's face, threatening to beat Ashley up at the reunion as well. Okay. And Robyn is like, oh no. That's comparing apples to rocks because I didn't put my hands on Ashley. No, but here's the thing. What it's really about is, and I think I've heard the ladies on Real Housewives of Atlanta speak about this after the altercation with Kenya and Porsha. The conversation has been about personal space and how people can violate your personal space to the degree where you feel like, okay, something's about to go down. Something is about to go down. Okay. So Robyn is not excused from this conversation. The only thing that has saved her is because if you watch that scene closely where she puts her hand up in Ashley's face, Ashley moves her hand out of her face physically. Physically. You can see it in the scene. Go back and watch it if you don't believe it. So there was physical contact being made. So again, it's always what's good for the goose has to be good for the gander as well. And Robyn sort of stumbled her way through that explanation, and of course Gizelle had to come in and swoop down and play Captain Save a Girl and saved her. Now, what I do think is Claudia Jordan did something that I really respect. You know, when you're interviewing, and I want to get on camera for this, when you're interviewing someone on a show, and if you're the host of that show, the thing that you do is you always make your guests feel like they're at home. Okay? This is just how I was brought up into the situation. Now, other people may feel differently. You always want to make that person feel like they're a guest in your home. And one of the reasons why you do that is so that they can open up and be their full authentic self. The more comfortable they feel, the less rehearsed that they feel. Okay. And you can also be the type of interviewer who just goes and dives straight in. Okay. And get to the meat. Okay. And I feel like Claudia Jordan did a mix of both, because if you welcome somebody into your home, you want to treat them graciously. Right. But you have a job to do as well, so you have to ask the tough questions, okay? And so I feel like she did a great job of making them feel at ease, but also asking the tough questions. So with that being said, you know, Claudia addressed this twice. On the show, the ladies, specifically Robyn, Gizelle, Wendy, put a whole lot of emphasis on the stereotypes of Black women being angry, okay? Claudia refuted that claim twice in this interview. And when I get done, I'll put the link for the video of the Michael Darby incident, as well as the video featuring Claudia Jordan, just so you guys can have it and you guys can watch it at your leisure. She did a very good job of emphasizing that these things have happened on shows featuring predominantly white casts, but the white cast members never feel like, or the other cast members never feel like, or the public in general never feels like, oh, this is a reflection on white women or white men. It's always just Black women. And she really went hard in that statement, but she did so in a very, I'm going to use a Q term, a classy based way. Okay. She did it in a very classy based way, almost as it was so classy that all they could do was smile through it and nod their heads, because what she said made so much sense and you could not refute that. They could not bounce back from that, because the way Claudia said it was in such a disarming way, but it was also very firm. And she made it a point to say it at the beginning and at the end. I really respected that she did that with them, because they needed to hear that. Because if we're going to talk about, stereotypes and you're going to talk about how something in action is making Black women look bad, then you also have to talk about not only the altercation, you have to talk about, going back with an ex cheating, the cheating ex pastor. I mean, the pastor who used to be a cheater or whatever the case may be, going back to that, spreading rumors on each other, making up lies about each other. You know what I'm saying? You got to go back to all of that too, because those things don't look good either. But nobody has a problem with that. All of a sudden, you got this problem and everybody's sitting up on this high horse. I just don't like that. I don't like it at all. And I feel like it's unnecessary, and it's adding an unnecessary dynamic to an already heated altercation. And I feel like they're trying to use that in order to continue to look down their noses at the situation that happened between Monique and Candiace, and mostly at Monique. And it is those methods that I feel like they are using, and not to mention also the isolation and the refusal to film with as a way to get someone off the show. You can't, I know that we know it's happening. You know what I'm saying? And that's the sort of thing that I don't like. So just to kind of wrap up everything, because I know we talked about a lot today. Oh, thank you so much, Leo. Leo says, thanks for discussing this interview. I was going to DM you on IG about it. You saying all the things I was thinking while watching it. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, those are things I don't care for, because honestly, we've been watching these types of incidences occur on every single show. And what I know for sure is, and I hate to say this, but it's the absolute truth. There are some of you who watch, and it's okay to be this person, because for real, it's a casual thing, right? You could be watching the show one week and the camera will show you one side of one person and you'll completely dislike that person. Then the next week they'll show you another side of a person, and then you'll be back into that person again. I see it happen all the time. I see it in the comments. So I get it. And for a lot of people, as casual observers, the television production company and the way they're producing the show, they're doing what they're supposed to do. But, just coming from the standpoint of having worked in the industry, but also just looking at this stuff and dissecting it and understanding how people maneuver behind the scenes, it's a different, you look at it through a completely different lens. So you begin to see beyond what the camera shows you. And that's the stuff that I like to talk about with you guys, is not just what we see on the screen, but also what we as a viewer, if we're really observe it, like if we really continue to observe what we can really start to really see with how things work, also through interviews, news, and that sort of thing. So that's kind of the lens behind that I'm looking through, and also the reason why I started this channel. Thank you. Marilyn Jacobs says Gizelle is definitely the equivalent of Brandy Glanville. She went from being just the right shade of messy to being outright rude. I agree with you. It's wrapped up in first lady shade. You know what I'm saying? And it's wrapped up in this whole first lady, I am better than attitude. But I said it earlier in another video, is the moment that you step on that high horse is the moment where when you come tumbling down, it's a very long fall. So I saw a comment from Robert Smith who says that Black women are viewed differently. Why do you think Kamala Harris had to hold her tongue during the debate? This is what I will say about that, about Black women being allegedly viewed different. I will no longer, I feel like that is Black women being looked at through the lens of white gaze, which is like, and I mean gaze, like looking. And I refuse to look at myself or any of my brothers or sisters through that lens anymore. I am simply looking at the world through the lens of a Black man. That's it. And so now I don't concern myself with those stereotypes or those generalizations anymore, because Black and brown people come in all shades, sizes, and ways. And we should be celebrated for that. And if we are angry, it is usually because we have a right to be angry. And that is okay too. Because for so long, we have been taught that we have to suppress ourselves, that we have to hold our tongues, that we can't do this because the rest of the world will see us as threatening or whatever else. I don't look at the world like that anymore. And I refuse to. Because it does a disservice to me, and it does a disservice to you. And it does a disservice to the world, because it doesn't allow us to show up in the world as our authentic selves. And sometimes we are not having a good day. And that's okay. Because when other people don't have a good day, it's okay. So for me, I don't follow that logic anymore. And I would encourage you who is watching this right now, you don't have to live by that anymore. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we were raised to think, oh, listen, you got to behave, you got to defend, you got to do this. But honestly, looking at the world that we live in now and going what we've been through and seeing what we've seen, no, I'm not doing that anymore. It is an unhealthy way to think and to look at ourselves. And I refuse to do that. And I refuse to allow the people that I speak to, which are you guys every day, to do that to yourselves anymore. I'm not going to allow that. And nor will I. That's why this whole logic that they're spewing on Potomac is just bothersome to me. April B says Kamala is a litigator and debated like one. I don't think she moves under that gaze either. That's kind of how I felt. So for me, it's like, nah. I'm just trying to elevate how I'm thinking about this. You know, ain't perfect, but that's something that I don't appreciate at all. And again, here's what I will say regarding Gizelle and Robyn. I would respect it more if they were just like, I don't really like that girl. I ain't never liked her. So to me, she can go elsewhere. See, to me, now when you real about your thing, you ain't got to hide behind all of these other different rationales and reason, right? If you don't like somebody, just be like, I don't like them. That's something I can respect. I don't mess with her. I don't want to be on the show with her. Just say that. Because if you say that, then you run the risk of looking bad, but at least you're being real. And that's what I would prefer to see. Tish P says 2 things can be true. I understand why Monique lost control. I don't agree with it, but I understand. Boom. This is it. This is Tish, you just literally articulated why I feel the way that I feel. Yes. Do I think that it is wrong to put your hands on people? Yes. Do I understand why she did what she did? Because in the real world, that's probably what would happen to somebody if they did that. So yes, I understand it. Don't agree with it, but I understand. And I know so many people in my own personal life who would have reacted the same way too. Bottom line. But I got to tell y'all, after this week and the reunion, Leo says, check out Mona's interview. She gives good insight. Is that Mona Scott? Let me know who that is. Beyond this week, and I know we're going to have to talk about it at the reunion, I don't want to talk about this situation anymore because I'm kind of over it. I want to move on to something new. And clearly, thank you, Michael, for giving us something new to talk about. Now, with that being said, somebody's car alarm is going off next door. So we about to run up out of here, but I want to thank y'all so much for hanging in there with me today and chatting with me about this. I know we went a little longer than I expected to. I'm going to put the link in the description of the video so you guys can see it. With that being said, guys, listen, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. We have these conversations pretty much on a day-to-day basis. I know y'all like the live. I feel like y'all like the live videos better. You know, I kind of like it better too because I can get your immediate feedback and insight. We're doing this simultaneously on Facebook as well, guys. So make sure to follow along there. And you guys can also join the texting community. So I can send you a text message as soon as a new video drops. Y'all know yesterday I was telling y'all I was running to Home Goods. How come I never made it to Home Goods? I done ran to the mall instead. Okay. Off my plan. I am just to go. I mean, this is so random. I am starting back reading. I'm reading this book, The One Thing, The Surprisingly Simple Truth Behind Extraordinary Results. I wanted to ask you guys a question. I don't know if you guys are into reading. I've been thinking about doing this for some time. Is anybody into reading like Housewives fiction? I've been thinking, I have a story in my head and I've been thinking about writing it. And I think what I would do is it would be like short sort of novellas that would come out like maybe once a month. And I have a really amazing story in my head. So if that's something that you guys would be interested in, I'm going to start working on that, I think, because I just it's literally every day I'm having this thought in my head, and I love to write. I love to write. So in addition to reading, I wanted to start back writing, and I thought this could be a fun way for us to continue to just have Housewives conversation and just have fun. And it looks like a lot of you guys are interested. So I'll get to writing, and I'll get to writing, and I'll figure out a way to put out the content so that it's easy for you guys to access. Thank you for the super chat, Beverly, who says people are missing the fact that it was Gizelle that pushed Monique and she thought it was Candiace. I do believe you, California cutie. I feel like that's God speaking to me to do it because I've been really thinking about it for quite some time. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I don't know where it's going to lead, where it's going to go. I just know that it's been on my brain. So I think I'm going to do it. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for sticking along with me through this. I really appreciate you guys. When I first started this channel, it started off as just being like reality TV news, but now it's sort of, I want to say, I feel like it's evolving into something a little bit more where we can all get something else out of it. I'm not really sure. I'm just kind of going with where the spirit moves me. So we'll see how things continue to progress, but I definitely feel like I like the lives a lot better. Listen, y'all, stay safe out there. Y'all know that I love you. I love you. I do not lie when I say that. Thank you, Angela, who says, explore all your talents. You're great. Thank you. And I just want to tell y'all that, you know, I love y'all. Stay safe. And Elizabeth, send me an email. I just saw it pass by in the comments. And I will see you guys in the next video.